What's up, everybody? David Yang here again with Home Sellers. I want to thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Real Talk, where I talk about real estate. Now, in this week's episode, we are going to be talking about, is the housing market going to crash, okay? Now, if you could do me a big favor before we start the video by smashing that thumbs up button below and sharing this video, hopefully the information here can help somebody else out as well. Okay, so is the housing market going to crash? Now, personally, I think it's not going to crash the way that most people think it's going to crash, okay? So what I mean by that is that let's take a look back at the 2008 recession and housing market crash, okay? So what happened then for the housing market to come down? Well, one, we had bad loans, okay? So people were getting ninja loans, and most of them were adjustable rate. Now, what I mean by ninja loans is no income, no job. So if you had a pulse, if you could sign the documents, you got the loan. Now, the second thing was there was a lot of speculation going on. People thought that the housing market was just going to keep going up. So people got in, bought, and then hopefully turned around and resold it later on for a higher profit. Now, the third thing is that the housing market was being flooded with inventory from builders, okay? So there was a lot of tax incentive for people to go out and buy a home, become first-time homeowners. So builders were capitalizing on that, just flooding the market with more homes. So those are what I thought were the three main factors for the housing market crash. And again, there's a lot of financial factors that go into the crash as well, but those are the three main things. Now, the reason why we're talking about the 2008 recession is so that way we can compare it to what's going on right now and how it differs. So right now, the loans that the lenders are giving out are a lot safer. So they're making sure that the borrowers can repay these loans. Most of the loans are fixed rate mortgages. Now, let's talk about house prices. Now, housing prices are actually pretty high. They're higher than the last recession. But that is partly because of the low supply of homes that we have. And you remember when I was talking about back during 2008 and the builders are just going crazy? Well, ever since then, builders have put a very big slowdown on building new homes. That's the reason why our supply of homes is very low, okay? Therefore, pushing up demand and increasing prices. The third thing now is that interest rates have been kept low ever since about the recession, okay? And they're starting to creep back up. I think today we are at around 5.5% for most loans. So how does all of that wrap together and tell us what's going to happen about the housing market in the future, all right? So personally, I think that there's not going to be a crash per se like 2008, like what I mentioned earlier, but I think it's going to be a slowdown, okay? It's still currently a seller's market, so the inventory is still low, all right? And sellers still have the upper hand, but as interest rates starts to creep up, we'll see demand kind of slow a little bit, because people are naturally not going to be able to afford high interest rates and high prices. There's going to be a little slowing of it. Is it going to be a full-on crash? Nobody knows. So how should you use all this information to benefit you? If you're buying, get out there and lock in those interest rates as soon as possible before they go up even more. If you're selling, you want to make sure you get your house on the market and get a contract signed before the housing market slows even more. Now, again, we're coming into the summer market here, so we're not sure if it's going to increase or decrease. Nobody knows for sure, but what we do know is that you need to act now if you're thinking about either buying or selling your home. Now, that was a really quick rundown of what I think the housing market crash is going to be like, or if we're even going to have one. So if you guys have any more questions about it, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. If not, I will see you guys next week on the next episode of Real Talk.